Hello, my name is Tia Pointer, and this is Module 1 for Culture and Community. So, I did appreciate this module tremendously. I really feel like it opened my eyes to the different things that different people experience. We don't all go through the same life experiences, and we don't all come from the same place. And I feel like this has really opened up my eyes even more to the fact that we really have to be very respectable and very sensitive to the different people that we're around, because we never know what a person's has gone through, or if our beliefs are even the same. So I feel like this was a great module and I really enjoyed it. My family consists of myself, my two brothers, and my mom and my stepdad. All of my family members are African American, and I am biracial. My mom is black, and my biological dad is Caucasian. I grew up in the suburbs of Southern Illinois, so I'm about 20 minutes from downtown St. Louis, where most people were considered low and middle class families unless you were wealthy. It was really, there was no in between. It was either you were super wealthy, you're considered middle class, or, it was considered like poor. So I'm the oldest of my two brothers and the first one to finish college out of my immediate family. We are an athletic family. Me and my brothers all play sports, and my parents played sports back in their day, which is, we're not going to talk about how long ago that was. By society standards, we are considered to be a middle class family. So, we weren't super rich. We didn't have a lot of money, but we were comfortable. We never had to struggle for anything, which I do appreciate. My parents work extremely hard, and I don't know how I'd be where I am without them. For my education growing up, I attended the biggest high school in my district. Sorry, my high school graduated almost 1,000 students my senior year, and it was the most diverse in ethnicity. And we had many students with diverse cultural backgrounds. And one thing I do appreciate extremely about my high school is that they offered clubs that represented each cultural background that was represented at our school. So everybody had a home, everybody had something to be a part of if you so choose, and nobody was left as an outcast. So that's one thing I appreciated so much about my school, is that everybody felt at home and everybody had a place and nobody had to be that outcast. The racial makeup of my high school is 46.3% white, 40.1% African American, and 7.6 of two or more races. So there was a large number of other races, but they were there, and my school made sure that they knew that they were appreciated, and they mean just as much as anybody else. So after high school, I attended a historically black college, also known as the HBCU, on a full ride scholarship, which I will be talking about later on. The racial makeup of students who attend my HBCU is 92% African American, 4% white, 1% Hispanic, and 1% international. Even though those 1% are super small, it doesn't do justice how many international students that we do have on campus. And those students are there because of some type of talent, whether it be, really good grades because they earned academic scholarships, arts scholarships, music scholarships, athletic scholarships. But I appreciated all of them, and they really gave me an opportunity to understand, especially when they were willing to talk about their culture and their background and where they came from. And it just helped me have different perspectives and just know that everybody's not the same. So I really appreciated my college experience. Growing up in the church, I grew up in the church. You could say I lived in the church. There was never a Sunday that we missed. My grandmother was not having it. No matter how you felt, you did not miss a Sunday at church. My family and I do believe in Christianity and are members of a family-owned Missionary Baptist Church here in Wichita. Me and my husband, we are members at Beacon of Hope Missionary Baptist Church. Being involved in church and living by religion has certainly played a part on my beliefs and how I live my life. I feel like if I wasn't exposed to church or religion and certain beliefs, I don't feel like I would be living by them. So I definitely think that's a big family influence that had on me, because like I said, if I hadn't been exposed to it, I don't think I'd know anything about it. So community, my husband and I are part of the Southeast Wichita community. This community is extremely diverse, and we experience interactions with people of different cultural backgrounds very often. I do appreciate the fact that the community is so well blended, and how we're just willing to come together. There's always these activities going on the weekends, or these food drives, clothes drives. Like for example, yesterday I was at the Town East Mall, and there was a guy that works there, and he bought all these shoes for these kids, and he was just giving them shoes for the school year. He provided a certain amount of shoes, from ranging from different sizes, and he was just giving them away to make sure the kids that were prepared for when they do go back to school. So it's things like that that I really appreciate about our community. People are just so willing to do the right things for people, no matter, our differences or where we came from or how we were raised, or our beliefs. I really appreciate as people how we can put those aside and come together for the greater good of our community. Our neighborhood, this is me and my husband. This is our first home together, and I really love it. I'm gonna miss it whenever that time comes to move out. We do live in a very ethnic, diversity neighborhood. There's all types of ethnic backgrounds in our neighborhood, which is I appreciate. But also, as far as like age wise, there's a lot of older couples, like retired couples, but then there's a lot of younger couples with some kids. So it's very unlikely in my neighborhood that you just see a young couple without kids, just here, which I appreciate because it's quiet. But also we get a little bit of everything. So we get to see the kids playing, and we get to see the older couple, just enjoying each other's company. And it's just a nice neighborhood to be a part of. And we all look out for each other, and we respect each other's space and privacy, but we're also willing to help one another out. So for my peer group in high school, I did have a very blended racial friend group. My high school was very diverse, and it brought kids from different ethnic backgrounds together and allowed us to learn from one another. And we also formed friendships that would last a long time. There are some friends that I made in high school, that I still talk to, and I appreciate them, and those are genuine friendships I will cherish forever. When I got to college, I did pledge an African American sorority, and it had a lot of influence on the social groups I had while I was in college. Now, like I said earlier, I did attend an HBCU, which was majority, African Americans. So obviously, my friend group for college while I was there shifted. Even though I did still form friendships with international students and, whoever was there, it was just so happened that I gravitated towards my sorority, which happened to be, all of my line sisters are African American. So yeah, my friendships and sisterhood relationships through my sorority kind of made up my social group while I was in college, but I still kept those high school friends, and I still made sure I, formed friendships with other people. So there was no, certain requirement for me, or there was no, uncomfortableness for me. I like to be friends with everybody. It's just the surrounding and the environment that I was in. So after moving to Wichita and being exposed to different culture races, my social group once again shifted like it did in high school, and I was exposed to more, nationalities and different people. And that's one thing I do appreciate about Wichita, is that it's very diverse, and you meet people from everywhere, and they have stories to tell, and I love listening. I love listening to somebody else's experiences, and just hearing how somebody does something differently than how I would do it, and their reasoning behind it. So I think it's a great part of life, is, knowing that not every one person is the same. Electronic media. So growing up, I was never really exposed to electronic media. My grandparents did not believe in cell phones or TV. They waited for that newspaper daily. So it wasn't until high school that I was exposed to all the social media sites, as far as like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Google even for that matter, as far as doing research for classes and everything. So now electronic media actually plays a big part in how I function and throughout my days, especially now that we're virtually teaching our students online, and I am a coach, so that's how I communicate with my girls and keep up on the latest information as far as the things that are going on with the district and all the changing of the rules and the season changes and stuff like that. So that's actually how I keep informed. So I don't know where I would be without electronic media today. So for sports, like I said, I grew up in an environment where sports were the only way I would pay for college. My parents had 3 kids. There was no way that they could financially put all 3 of us through college without any type of help. So sports played a big role in my life, and it is a reason why I got to go to undergrad for free. My parents saw that we were athletic and we were capable of getting to college, so we used our athleticism to get us to school for free, and that was the only way I was going to get that opportunity. My parents couldn't just afford to send me to college, and it was a nice way for me to keep up with my health and to stay in shape and to make sure, that I wasn't unhealthy and I was uninjured. So for many low-income families, actually having athletic abilities is used as a safety net. And for many students, it is the only way to escape a bad environment. I know I've worked with a lot of students who are athletes, and, they tell me this is my ticket out. So a lot of students who are struggling right now with, season cancellations, they're struggling mentally and emotionally because, they thought that this was going to be their chance, and for it to be, temporarily taken away from them, I can only imagine how they feel, because I know what that feels like. I know sports was my only outlet. So I was blessed with that opportunity. For the arts, I was never exposed to arts growing up. I had many friends that were actually involved in arts. Some of my best friends were in band and music. So I learned a lot from them. Do I enjoy it? Not entirely, but I respect the love that they have for it, and I will always support them no matter what. In my household personally, if it didn't guarantee a financially stable career, then it wasn't worth the investment, and it really wasn't a conversation. Like I said, my parents were strictly athletic driven, and that's what worked for us. So that's just the mindset that my family had. In high school, I noticed that a lot of the boys would lean more towards musical arts and the girls loved theatrical. And then when I got to college, that actually flip-flopped. I had a lot of my sorority sisters who were actually a part of our band, and a lot of guys were actually involved in, drama or something of that nature. So print media, textbooks were about the only thing I was interactive with when it comes to print media. I always passed the magazines in the store with the tabloids and the information and everything. And, I saw my favorite singers on the cover, and my parents were just, they didn't believe in it. They told me not to believe everything I read out of a magazine, and it's just junk. So I didn't get to enjoy that part of my childhood like I would like to. Most of the times I just want to take the magazine and cut the pictures out and tape them to my wall. But, I didn't get that opportunity. So yeah, textbooks as far as school, that was the only thing I was involved in as far as print media. So since being an educator at West, I have had the most diverse experience with my students. So at West, 46% of the population is females, and the other 54% is populated by males. So the racial makeup of West High varies. There's 39% Hispanic, 33% white, 16% African American, 9% of 2 or more races, and 2% American Indian, and 1% Asian. So this experience at West High has been the most educational profession I have had, and I appreciate every bit of it. I love my students. They've really taught me a lot, especially about where they come from and how they live, and just listening to their stories, it makes me appreciate the things that I was given and the opportunities that I had, and it made me understand that not everybody gets those opportunities, so we need to take advantage of them when we do get them. The most difficult thing I have had to overcome since being at West is the language barriers with my Hispanic students. I noticed that language is a challenge, but we've worked together, and I've been able to overcome that. It's still not easy, but it's easier than it was when I started, and my kids and the parents are willing to work with me, and I'm willing to work with them. So as long as we have that mutual understanding, we'll always get through things together. Technology has evolved tremendously. Especially now during this pandemic, where would we be without technology, really? Um, it's shaping how we teach. It's